Good afternoon. My name is Betty Terry. I'm a student at FSCJ, and I'm doing an interview with Miss April Bus in my class HUS 3351, Family System and Dynamics, Professor Osi. Hello, April. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to come to my home for this interview. Like I said, once my professor reviews this, it's going to be deleted, and I'm also going to delete it as well.
Okay.
So the last we spoke, you were telling me about the fact that you felt like you should be the one in control of the finances in your household.
Yes.
So I thought we can continue from there. Sorry your husband and your mother could not make it today. So, April, one of my questions is, you say that you never seen a counselor before because you didn't realize that this was a problem. What is the problem from your viewpoint? What do you think the problem is?
I think the problem is that in my marriage, I feel like I should be in control of everything. Like when I was growing up, I lived in my grandmother's household, and in that household, she took care of everything. Like usually in traditional homes today, it's the man is in charge of everything. But with her, the grandmother, the woman was in charge of everything. So I think there's a bit of a switch in roles there.
And from speaking with your husband, he stated that he's not comfortable with it. Other than your grandmother, is there any other in your past generation? Have there been any other females that control the household financially with money?
Well, after my grandmother passed, then my mother took that role of being in charge of everything. So, my grandmother and my mother, and I followed in their steps, basically.
And I also spoke to you about, you stated that you don't know who your father is?
Yes, I don't know.
You don't know any of his family? If you don't, it's okay. It's okay. If you don't, it's okay.
I'm trying to remember.
It's okay. It's all right. I was just trying to, because as sometimes we inherit certain habits from past generations. And I was just trying to figure out whether or not maybe you got some of this from your father's side of the family as well as your mother's side of the family, because you seem to have this strong urge to do this. And from what I can get from you and your husband, you are determined not to change that. And that goes into my next question. What do you think that would make the problem better?
What would fix the issue?
Yes. What do you think would make it better?
I think if I gave him more of a say in everything that we do in the household, like I know I deal with all the finances because I feel like he can't handle that. But maybe if I gave him a chance to handle finances or let him have some input on our everyday activities, that would probably clear some of the issues up. But the thing is that I wasn't raised in a household like that.
So you're not comfortable with it?
Not particularly, but I haven't given it a chance.
Okay, before I brought this issue, before I began speaking with you about this, did you ever think about it? Did you ever think that this was one of the problems because you insist on, did you ever think that maybe, just sometimes in general we think that, what is the problem because you say you're having problems in your marriage? Did you ever think that this was one of the problems before I brought it to your attention?
I did think it was a problem, but I guess I didn't realize how much it was a problem, how much it was a problem until it got to this point where I'm needing some guidance.
Good. Okay, well, I hope I can give you that. Okay. Okay, now I have a question. If you could just blink your eyes, what would you change? I mean, what would you make happen? What would you change in your life if you could just blink your eyes? What would you change that you feel that would have helped this problem to not be at the point where it is now?
I would change, I guess, an aspect of my life growing up. I don't think it was healthy for me to experience only, like, it takes two to make a relationship, and I only saw one person doing everything in the relationship. I think it would have been healthier for me to see both parts, both people working together, and I think that would make it easier for me to rely on someone else to help me too with my husband.
Well, it looks like it seems as though you have been thinking about this a lot lately, and that's
Yeah.
good. That's very good. Because you can only fix a problem if you work on it together. Is your husband involved in helping you to work this out? Is he less angry now than last I spoke with him?
Yes, I think that's because we're getting help with the issues that we're facing right now. So
Okay.
he's calmed down a little bit.
More of a together thing now instead of just a separate thing. You're not arguing as much?
Not as much, no.
Okay. Okay. What do you expect from this counseling session? I mean, if it were in reality, a counseling section, what would you expect from it?
I would expect, I feel like some personal experiences from the counselor to relate to what I experienced would be helpful. I also expect some unbiased, what's the word?
An unbiased opinion.
Unbiased opinions, right.
Okay. Well, do you think that I'm unbiased? I mean, I spoke to both of you. Did I give you the feeling of that I was unbiased, that I was just trying to, help you work out the situation, or did you think that I offered too much information?
No, I think you're very unbiased. You give 100%. You don't sugarcoat anything. You just let us know how it's supposed to be, so that makes it easier.
Okay. Do you consider yourself to have a low, average, or high interpersonal? Would you rate your communication? Do you have good communication with your spouse, family members?
I think it's good, but it could probably be a little better.
Because if you had better communication, then maybe the arguments wouldn't have gotten to where it is now.
Yes.
You could have kind of worked it out. So
like,
that's
usually with the arguments between me and my husband, I would try to avoid them. Like, I wouldn't even let them happen. So I feel like if I were to be able to communicate better with him, I wouldn't just shut down the argument. I'd talk about it instead of just changing the subject.
very good. I would agree with you. I wrote down all these questions. I'm not going to answer you all these questions because it's only like 15, 20 minutes. But would you like to add anything? You seem to be more comfortable with me now. I noticed that in the beginning you were a little reluctant to talk with me, but it seems like you're more comfortable now. You're more relaxed, and for the past couple of days you've been really communicating with me, and I truly do appreciate it. I truly do appreciate it. What is your husband take on it? I mean, what is he? Is he feeling more comfortable with it? Have you made any changes?
I made changes by including him more into letting him pay bills. Like, I would keep track of like groceries and like the heat.
Well, I see you still shopping. You look very nice. It's okay. It's okay for us to look nice, It's okay, but we have to take care of our business first. So it's okay. So is he more understanding about your shopping now?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
You sound like you're not sure of it. I know he still probably has some because he was pretty angry about it. How did it make you feel when you didn't like pay the bills or buy a dress? How did it actually make you feel?
It made me feel a bit upset. Like, if I wasn't paying the bills, I don't feel like I could rely on anyone else to do it right. because I feel like if he were to do the bills, something would get messed up. So I just want to make sure I do it, I get it right the first time. That's it.
But how about when you shopped instead of paying bills? When you mentioned before that you felt like um, you had been without for some time, and you feel like when you want something, you just purchase it. So are you still feeling that way, or do you have a different perception of things now?
Yes, although I do like shopping, I should put my priorities first, which are paying bills. And although I didn't get to really experience having like dresses and stuff before in the past, it's not what's important right now.
Okay. But you still would like to have. You still would like.
I still would like those nice things from him sometimes.
So just tell me, what are your plans as far as being compromising and what are your plans towards? I mean, how did you go about inputting this in order for you to be able to get your marriage back on the right track? What exactly did you do from the time we spoke? I mean, what did you go? I'm sorry. What did you go about doing? How did it begin?
Um, right after our session.
Yes.
Well, how did it go? Well, when we got home, we had a sit down about some issues that were on his mind, and we talked about it civilly, what was on his mind and what was on my mind, and how he wanted to be more involved, and um,
So you
yeah,
said communication played a big part in it.
Yeah, we started to communicate more than what we usually do.
Do you feel that your past generations in family had something to do with how you look at things as far as the household dynamics, or how you and your husband run things? Do you feel like your past had something to do with it?
Yes, definitely. I think, like I mentioned before, my grandmother, she was in charge of mostly everything in the household, and then when she passed, then my mother was. So it kind of felt obligated that I were to follow what they did in their house. So I kind of just I followed what they did because that's what it seems like was
How about
the way to go.
your stepdad, the females in your stepdad family, your aunts, and did they do the same?
Um, I'm actually, I honestly, I'm not sure.
No, I don't mean your mom's. I'm not talking about your biological father. I'm talking about your stepdad. You mentioned before that you were raised around them, that they would babysit you or whatever, and they seem to run the household as well. So I was asking about them, the things that you observed, what they did. So do you think that had an impact on your reactions or how you run your household now?
Um, a bit. Um,
It's okay. We won't. We won't. You're getting nervous. It's okay. We won't. We won't. Let's see. We got like 2 minutes to go. I'm new at this also, as I told you before. It's okay. I just want to bring some things to your attention. As I stated before, I was trying to find out whether or not, because of the past, um, did this have a impact on how your behavior now, and to implant for you to it looks good because you're doing things now that's going to last a very long time. hopefully. The more you do it, the more you adjust to it. And hopefully it'll straighten out some things in your marriage. And I was just trying to get you to think about where this is coming from. I'm sorry. So can you tell me some other things about I don't know about other do you have any other issues in your marriage besides the financial situation?
Um, Besides finances and argument, argumentative state, um, there's not anything else I can really think of.
Well, your husband mentioned that also that sometimes you use you and him being together in an intimate way as a weapon in order to have your way. Do you think this is a problem?
Probably, I could honestly say I probably do use that to my own advantage, um, which is unfair to him. Uh, I'm not sure how much more to elaborate on that.
I don't want you to elaborate too much on it, but I was just trying to, because sometimes when we clear up one issue, then another one comes along, and we don't want to fall back in that habit because what I'm like this, I feel like one problem ricochet off into another. If you're used to doing one thing and you fix that problem, then the other thing is going to arise, and then it's going to bring back the previous problem. So that's why I was trying to find out, did you have any other problems, within the marriage other than the financial situation? Because when you fix one, you need to work on all of them so you don't go back to the original problem, because sometimes it could be worse, and so that's why I was asking that. So did you ever notice in your previous, in the past generations, have you ever noticed that your parents or your grandparents withheld sex in order to be able to have their way as far as the finance is concerned?
Um, well, as a child, I'm not sure, but now thinking back on it, I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that went on.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
But you know,
probably.
but you're not going to. I'm sorry, but you're not. But you're comfortable with what's happening now, and you're not gonna try to do that. I mean, you got to work on that as well. When you can't have your way, you can't do that. I mean, that's just gonna cause another problem. Yes. All right.
And I understand that I shouldn't do that. If I can't have my way, then that's the mature thing to do. Would just be to accept that. I don't have to try to manipulate to get what I want. To just accept that I can't always have what I want. That's
Very good.
probably what I should
Well,
do.
you're a lovely young lady, and I just thank you. My timer just told me that the time is up, and I hope this amount of time was sufficient for the project. And again, I thank you for coming to my home. And
Nope. I feel like you would probably be help to a lot of other people with their personal issues.
well,
I think you're doing really good right now.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, then. Well, Professor Elsie, this will be the end of my interview. I hope I've asked sufficient questions, and I look forward to reading your comments. Have a wonderful day.